cutest one. I'm outside with your pipe. Got a brown skin nigga with dreads. And a black ass nigga with white. He gon' drop that neck. He love the way I sit. Make them bitches pretty.
Oh boy.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a great fight for you here tonight. The fight is, of course, between the reigning champion, Willpower, in the blue corner, and TikTok Thought number 9,782,000 in the black.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
And out come both fighters, and already Willpower is getting hit with vicious combinations.
Well, this is looking bad, Jim. I don't know if Willpower can hold off the Thought much longer.
Well, it looks like the Thought is loading up again. This could be big. Here comes the punch. And oh my God! Oh, down goes the champion! Down goes the champion!
All right, I'm beating. Yo, what's going on, YouTube? So every night for the past couple months now, I have been ruthlessly beating my dick. I've been going ham on my shit. I mean, there's really just no other words for it. I've been walloping it. I've been slapping it. Hitting the Millie Rock on it. A couple nights ago, I could have sworn I heard it talking to me. Begging. Pleading for me to stop. And I just showed it absolutely no mercy. Now, to you, this probably doesn't seem like much of a problem. I mean, I'm a young, healthy, Asian man. Of course I'm going to be committing war crimes on my Johnson. Duh. What are you going to tell me next? The sky is blue? Get a grip. Well, you see, the problem isn't so much the frequency at which I've been stroking my schlong. And believe me, chat, it's been very frequent. No, you see, instead, the problem is just what I've been stroking my schlong to. Now, if you're just a regular guy or gal, you're probably under the assumption that watching porn is normal. Healthy even. I mean, that's what Google will tell you if you ask it the same question. Porn not only satisfies your imagination, but can also be a great vector for discovering some of your kinks and sexual fantasies. But, and I'm sure I'm not alone in this sentiment, every time I finish watching porn, there's something in the back of my mind that just asks me, what is wrong with you? There's something particularly sharp about gooning to sexual images on a screen that just really makes me feel like I'm disappointing my ancestors. It's a horrible habit. I mean, no matter how you slice it or try to defend it. And the unfortunate reality is most people, I would say, are addicted to it, whether they know it or not. And this addiction, unlike most other addictions, is very normalized. Now, I could spend the next 20 minutes diving into the scientific evidence and numerous psychological studies done on this issue and try to perfectly condense and articulate all of that information down into one super impactful script that resonates with you and finally convinces you to quit this dangerous addiction, this horrible habit. But I'm not gonna do that, because that's gay. That's gay. I don't feel like doing that. So instead, I'm going to give you my anecdotal evidence and personal perspective to try to convince you as to why you should probably quit these dastardly activities and seek the Lord's light.
Tied the ops to the back of a Trackhawk and dragged them around the block for 24 hours.
So before we get started, let me just give a brief summary of my adolescent backstory with pornography. If at any point this makes you uncomfortable, please feel free to skip ahead. So when I was a kid, I didn't watch porn. All my friends did, and they would tell me about it, and they would tell me how I should get into it. But when I was a kid, I would just use my imagination. And that was pretty good for me. My imagination was dope. I used to come up with all these freaky scenarios where I would somehow manage to undress a girl and slip my. But then one fateful day, I decided, hey, you know, what the heck? All my friends are telling me to give this thing a whirl, give this the hub a shot. And on that fateful day, I looked it up, probably when I was like 11. And when I first watched porn, I was kind of like grossed out because, I mean, you know, after watching porn for so long, you kind of forget that all you're doing is watching two random people fuck each other. It's not like a natural thing that turns you on. And so I would use my imagination, and I kind of wish I stayed like that. I kind of wish I stayed using my imagination. Not kinda, I do wish I stayed using my imagination. So I would use my imagination, and a few years went by and I would dabble in porn, and then eventually I got to a point where it is now where I only use porn and I watch porn every day. But I wouldn't say it was an addiction up until probably this year. For a long time I could have quit, or at least I told myself I could quit whenever I want. And I actually proved it. I went 77 days without watching anything or even touching myself when I was a freshman. But that was about 7 years ago, so times have changed, I would say.
The problem isn't that I'm like addicted to the point where I spend the majority of my waking hours thinking about Violet Myers and Tory Black getting dug out. It's not that. Porn really hasn't made me a more sexual person at all. Like, it hasn't changed the way I view women. None of that shit. The real problem that I have with this shit is just like my inability to moderate it. You know, like that's the part that rubs me the wrong way. Pun intended. You know, at any given moment, if I swipe on something or see the wrong thing, or hell, at this point, if I even just read the word ass, like just the word ass, it could get me going. So that's the problem I have with it. It's just the feeling of not being in complete control of myself. And it makes me like really desperately want to quit.
Ops wanted some initiative, blew up their entire quadrant. I'm moving like Oppenheimer. She dropped that ass on me from an egregious angle. They thought I was Stephen Wallace.
Quitting porn is a challenge. It's different from any other kind of addiction. Let's say you're addicted to smoking cigarettes. Okay, well, it's a lot easier to quit smoking cigarettes than it is to quit watching porn. Why? Because there's a physical act involved in, like there's a blocker. In getting a cigarette, you have to leave your house, have money, go to the store, and then buy it, and then come home. Watching porn is free. It's everywhere. It's truly you versus you. Not only that, but the physical harm that smoking a cigarette causes you is visual. You can see it. You can feel it when you try to walk up a flight of steps. You get winded. But it's not really the same with porn, you know? It's not really the same. The only physical thing you feel, at least for me, is this sense of, you feel like a loser. That's about it, though. Your head kind of hurts. That's about it. But these physical kind of repercussions, for me, they're not strong enough to warrant quitting forever. And that's why I don't. Every time I've said I'm gonna quit and I've gone cold turkey, I've relapsed because my mind needs a bigger blockade to quit something than just, I don't want to do it anymore. You know, if my reason for quitting is I don't want to do it anymore, I'm probably gonna fail.
I've honestly gotten to a point where like I'll be like mid-stroke and consciously think to myself, I'm not enjoying this in the slightest. I'll even like go to completion and just kind of sit there, you know, just thinking like, so what was the point of that? I don't even enjoy the process of jerking off anymore. Like because I jerk off when I'm not even horny. Like it feels more like a chore, like it's just a task to just get out of the way more than anything, more than pleasure.
So here's the thing. Why is it so difficult to quit porn, at least for me? Is because it's fucking everywhere. It's genuinely everywhere. Instagram, porn up. Twitter, X videos. It's literally just softcore porn on Instagram and TikTok, and hardcore porn on Twitter. At this point, it's like if I need to, like, there's like a process I have at this point. I don't just go straight to porn. I don't just go straight to the hub. I need to, you know, get in the mood first. And if I need to get in the mood, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. That's where you go. That's not a good thing. like kids are on these websites. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, like it's everywhere. We live in such a hypersexualized society where everything is just so raunchy, so sexualized. Like I cannot scroll through Instagram without seeing some ass on my screen, whether it be from an ad or just a low down just shaking her shit right in my fucking face. Now these social media sites further and further, you know, promoting this type of stuff because they know it keeps young men on their website, goes hand in hand with the rise of another platform that we've seen, the OF. Now I'm not gonna sit here and demean these young women, these young ladies who feel that the only way to make a living these days is by selling their no swear on the internet. Although I do think it's the devil's work. OnlyFans becoming more and more popular is definitely a bad thing. There are so many girls who feel like they could easily just make money doing that. And then they get on there and they post a picture of their vaginal lips across the internet and they get like 45 likes. And that must be a bad feeling, you know, like, cause you can't really take that one back. Yeah, like, no, it's a real problem though. Like these girls, more and more girls are starting to do this thing. There's like 4 or 5 girls who I went to high school with who are on OnlyFans. So that's something. But yeah, man, it's just everywhere. Every music video, you're gonna see ass. Ice Spice. I mean, who's even watching her fucking? Who's listening to Ice Spice music? Unironically, we know what you're there for. You're there to see her shake it. Let's not mix things up. We both know why you're watching Ice. But yeah, it's not just that. It's what the songs talk about. It's what is shown on social media. It's what we see on certain YouTube videos. And it's like kids watching this. It's like kids watching this, you know. It's kids getting into porn at an early age and developing a chronic addiction and beating their little Johnsons every day to this kind of material. That's certainly not a good thing. Certainly not a good thing to have a bunch of, you know, little porn crazed monkeys running around. This rise in porn addiction and, you know, porn becoming more and more normalized leads me to my last point, which some people might define as the most sinister. We're gonna talk about pedophilia now. PEDOPHILINS Oh yeah. Yeah, but like we've seen a lot of a rise in pedophilia, a rise in predators. Or maybe not a rise, but like more and more of these people are getting exposed. I think it started with EDP, maybe. In terms of, well, you know, Chris Hansen was always around, but I think maybe the first like YouTube star turned pedophile, or you know, revealed as a pedophile was EDP, or at least that was the one that hurt the most because he was funny. Obviously, there was also, I think Wildcat was a pedophile. Here's the thing: I don't think it's a stretch of the imagination to assume that there aren't like as many pedophiles as we have. I think it's not a stretch of the imagination to say that at least half of them were not born that way. I think there are pedophiles that are just born like you were born wrong. You just like kids. But I think a lot of pedophiles weren't into that shit when, you know, before they got into porn. I think porn can definitely lead to be a pathway to pedophilia or being a predator. Just a creep in general, you know, because it sexualizes women. You start to view them as only objects. And, you know, the more and more you watch porn, the more desensitized to it you become. And, you know, it gets to a point where, you know, missionary, just watching two people in missionary isn't going to cut it anymore. It's not going to do what you need it to do. And so you need to dive down these rabbit holes of Reddit and Twitter and the, you know, page 1000 of Pornhub. And, you know, you just keep doing this and keep going down this neurological, beating on this neurological door until it busts down. And you just, you know, you wake up one day and you realize that the only thing that can get you off is watching a roach and an alien each other in
a roach and an alien each other in
Anywho, if this video doesn't make you, you know, at least look at porn differently, let alone want to quit, I understand. It's a difficult addiction to beat. It's difficult to recognize it as an addiction. It's difficult to build up the wall that I was talking about of saying, okay, this is objectively bad, I'm gonna stop. That's the problem. It's hard to look at it as objectively bad, especially when there's studies that say that it's good for you. You know, it's a spiritual disease. It's a disease that isn't looked at as a disease. It's become more and more normalized. Being a gooner is normalized. If you go in these comment sections on Instagram or Twitter or TikTok, or you look at some, I don't know, fucking women's Olympic long jumping contest, and the thumbnail is just some Italian girl's ass, some poor Italian girl, and you go into the comment section and you just see a bunch of guys talking about men of culture. Like, it's a problem. And, you know, if you want to quit, if you want to, you know, go through life without watching these sexual images all goddamn day, I commend you. I commend you. I'm gonna try my best to do that too. But regardless of it, it's definitely a problem, to say the least. Anywho, that's it. I'm gonna go beat my dick. See y'all later. Thanks for all the love and support. Appreciate it. Got new videos coming soon. Season 2, baby. Goodbye. Whee!
I like sex, I like drugs, I like money. Okay, I like drugs, it's so silly, but it ain't funny.
I was flipping bricks for Mansa Musa before y'all even became a Type 1 civilization.